Hello, this is Adam Bernard with AutoPerspectives, and it's time for News Roundup. So let's take a look at some of the more interesting developments in the auto industry over the past week or so. We will start with something fun and interesting and yes, a little strange. It's Faraday Future. Remember Faraday Future? Back in 2017 at the Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, they unveiled the FF91. Kind of a low shooting brake, high-end electric 4- or 5-seater, priced at about $300,000. 8 years after that vehicle was unveiled at CES, 6 years after they were supposed to start production, they have delivered exactly 16 FF91s. That makes it slightly more popular than the Bugatti Royale, of which 7 vehicles were built. Almost all, if not all, of the FF91s that have gone out so far have been given to employees, paid spokespeople, and other advocates for the company. And I will tell you now, I don't really have the time to go into the many bits of drama surrounding Faraday Future, but feel free to look them up because there's lots out there. More recently, they announced Faraday X, or FX for short, and that is the company's new affordable sub-brand. So just as Tesla essentially made their volume with the Model 3 and then the Model Y, Rivian is waiting for the R2, and Lucid is waiting for the Earth. Faraday is waiting for the FX Super One, which is the vehicle that you see here, which is designed to be their new, quote, more affordable, unquote, vehicle. And as you look at it, you're probably thinking, I feel like I've seen this somewhere before, and you probably have, or vehicles like it. This vehicle is actually based on the Great Wall Motors Wei Gaoshan 9 minivan. This vehicle launched in China over 2 years ago and has been sold in some markets outside of China as well. Now, if you go to China, you can get it with a 1.5-liter turbocharged 452 horsepower plug-in hybrid dual motor powertrain with an equivalent EV range of about 90 miles, which is comparable to a lot of the other luxury vans that you see in China. And there are a lot of luxury minivans in China. Now, apparently, Great Wall Motors have been engaged with Faraday Future about this project for about a year and are looking at U.S. assembly as semi-knockdown kits, reportedly sourcing 50% of the parts locally. So there are now, of course, huge tariffs on Chinese-built EVs and Chinese-built products. And so Faraday is looking to get around that by bringing some of the parts, partially assembled, partially painted, etc., to the U.S. market. In terms of what the FX Super One is, it is described as, quote, the world's first AI-powered luxury MPV and a true disruptor in the electric era. I would direct you to websites like Jalopnik and the Autopian, and I'll try to remember to put links in the description for their detailed descriptions of the entire catastrophic event surrounding the reveal of this vehicle and the numerous amounts of technobabble scattered throughout the presentation. The Super One debuts what Faraday Future calls the Super EAI Front AI Communication Ecosystem. Front AI Communication Ecosystem, otherwise abbreviated as FACE, because it has a face, and you saw in the previous photo, where there's a grill, there is now a giant screen. Faraday says that, quote, thanks to the brilliant minds at FF and FX, the Super EAI FACE system has given what you might call a soul. So yes, it may look like a minivan, but somehow it is perhaps sort of kind of alive. Underneath this vehicle is the EAI, Embedded Intelligence AI Agent 6x4 architecture. Technology which is supposed to make the Super One a, quote, intelligent life form on wheels. The 6x4 references 6 different technology platforms supporting 4 vehicle systems. Now, exactly how smart this vehicle is and what makes it smarter than so many other vehicles on the road has yet really to be clarified. You can see in the upper right photo there, it is a 3-screen interior. It is supposed to be offered in multiple seating configurations, including a super luxurious 4-passenger setup. And they are looking to get this vehicle on the road in 2026 as an alternative to both conventional minivans and a high-end luxury SUVs like Escalade. It is supposed to launch with both all-wheel drive EV and what they call an AI hybrid at extended range. And yes, if you think the term AI is sprinkled quite a bit throughout Faraday's press materials, you are correct. We're not sure what makes the hybrid and AI hybrid extended range because we don't have the specs yet. The pricing is rumored to be in the $70,000 to $100,000 range, again, as an Escalade competitor. So it is definitely more affordable than the FF91, but not what you would call necessarily an affordable EV. Again, I don't have enough time to go into all the crazy things that were said and demonstrated at the press event. I was not there. but it was very entertaining to read. The auto industry is full of plenty of drama these days, and Faraday Future certainly did not disappoint in that regard. We'll switch gears to MG. You might be old enough to remember that MG stands for Morris Garages, and they are best known for making fun and affordable sports cars in the United Kingdom. The MG intellectual property and brand were purchased by SAIC, Shanghai Automotive Industry Corporation, a number of years ago, and MG is now one of the best-selling Chinese-sourced brands in Europe. This is the new MG4, which was recently unveiled and is heading to Europe as well. It is a compact hatchback priced at $11,000 to $17,000, and it is fully electric. So it is targeting vehicles like the Opel Astra and the Volkswagen ID3, among others. It has a fairly modest 70 kilowatt hour battery pack and a 163 horsepower rear-mounted motor. So yes, rear drive, just like the ID3. It's actually a little less powerful than the outgoing MG4, but to MG's credit, it's also about 300 pounds lighter on a new architecture. One of the big things under the skin here is semi-solid state battery technology. This battery is expected to have a power density of about 300 watt hours per kilogram, which is better than just about anyone else out there at the moment, including Tesla. And that's because of that semi-solid state technology. The range is targeted to be an EPA equivalent of about 200 to 250 miles. So not really a great number. But again, you're doing it with a much more efficient battery. Instead of a liquid, which you see in most EV batteries, the battery uses a gel electrolyte. And swapping the liquid for the gel is more easily and affordably produced than solid-state batteries, which a number of automakers are still working on. And it does provide many of the stability, structural integrity, and thermal safety benefits of a proper solid-state battery, which is still a couple of years away from hitting the market. So definitely a better battery than most of the batteries out there, not quite to full solid state, but also impressive that they're putting it into an entry-level vehicle. Fast charging for this vehicle from 30 to 80% takes approximately 20 minutes. So that is quite fast, not quite as fast as filling up a gasoline vehicle, but getting there. And it also features a cell-to-body structural battery system. Most automakers now will put a cell into a module into a pack into a body. By sidestepping those two middle steps, you save complexity, you save cost, and you save mass. And again, all of those things are important, especially in an entry-level compact hatchback. Inside, if you see on the upper right, is a not entirely unique looking, but also not very cheap looking interior. It features a giant 15.6-inch central touchscreen. There is a small bank of physical buttons, so it is not totally virtual, although it is mostly virtual controls. The air vents are concealed to give it a cleaner look. There's a 50-watt phone charger with active ventilation. So if you've ever put your cell phone in a wireless charging pad and picked it up 10 minutes later to discover that it's not charging because it got too hot, this MG will help you get around that. The interiors are not black on black on black, as you might expect in a cheap EV, but rose purple and mountain blue color schemes. It also offers an available panoramic sunroof with an integrated sunshade. So we will not, unfortunately, be getting any MGs in North America, again, built in China, exported to a number of markets. But as an entry-level vehicle, we've seen the Chinese continue to raise the bar, and this MG does not appear to be a disappointment in that regard. We'll stay on the electric front, but shift gears to something quite a bit more radical, which is this California Corvette concept. It is the second of 3 concepts to be released by Chevrolet this year, following a vehicle that we saw from the UK Advanced Studio early this year. It is not a preview of the next generation Corvette, so don't get too excited. It is intended to explore what is possible. And apparently, if you look really close to the vehicle, you'll see a C10 badge on the fender. So the current Corvette is the C8, the next one would be the C9, so this is theoretically the one after that. And of course, in theory, that would probably take us to the middle of the next decade. In theory, General Motors has said their light-duty portfolio will be all electric by 2035. Don't really know if that's going to happen. Don't forget, they just spent $900 million investing in a new V8, so who knows? But that does suggest that there should be a fully electric Corvette by 2035. Not surprisingly, this concept features a wide stance, a narrow cockpit, and one of the tricks here is a front-hinged, fully removable canopy to aid in entry-exit, provide an open-air option. Staggered wheels front to rear, 21 and 22 inches. Underpinning the California Vet is a carbon fiber tub, and it uses a T-shaped battery like the old Chevy Volt. So it runs down the middle of the vehicle and behind the seats to provide a much lower seating position, I believe this vehicle is about 41 inches tall, so it is quite low. Like the Polestar 4, as you can see from this view, it does not have a rear window, so it relies on a digital rear view mirror. It has a deployable rear spoiler and air brake to help in aerodynamics, and the divided cockpit that you see in the upper right there mirrors the current C8. There's also a yoke-style steering system, and curiously, no passenger side display. We started to see a lot more automakers put a lot more screens inside vehicle. Even Ferrari has passenger side screens in their cars, but not in this Corvette concept. But again, this is not intended for production, just an idea of what might be out there. And finally, we'll circle back to China with Dongfeng. Dongfeng is one of China's big 4 state-owned automakers, and this particular vehicle is in a collaboration with Huawei, which is the big China smartphone maker. So it is a pretty smart vehicle. And the sub-brand here is M Hero, and the vehicle is called the rather unimaginatively named M817. This vehicle starts at about $46,000, so not too much more than a Tesla in China. They actually got nearly 10,000 refundable pre-orders in the first 24 hours. So definitely seem to resonate with a number of Chinese buyers. It comes in 2 configurations, electrified, not fully electric. There's either an EREV, it's a 1.5 liter dual motor setup, putting out a pretty impressive 912 horsepower. That takes it from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.2 seconds and gives it a roughly equivalent EPA range of about 90 miles. Alongside this is a more affordable and less powerful 687 horsepower plug-in hybrid. There are 2 variants. One is the City Edition that has flush door handles and low drag wheels. And then I believe what we are looking at here is the Off-Road Edition with exposed hinges, B-lock wheels, a 12,500 pound electric winch, and a 13.1 inch ground clearance. You know, we've started to see the Chinese get more into SUVs and more into off-road capable vehicles. So this is kind of a continuation of that trend. The M Hero M817 is a pretty smart vehicle as well. It is claimed to be level 3 autonomy, which as the SAE defines it is hands off and eyes off. So you could do a crossword while going down the freeway, apparently. It's supported by what they claim is the first mass-produced high-precision solid-state LiDAR, the first mass-produced in-cabin laser vision sensor, and the first distributed millimeter wave radar. So quite a few cool tech tricks here to support the driving assist technology. There is a 15.6-inch floating curved touchscreen, aviation-inspired switches, and it is driven by Huawei's Harmony OS Cockpit 5.0 software. Because this is obviously a lifestyle-oriented vehicle, you need plugs. There are 13 power outlets inside the M817, including a 6 kilowatt V2L capability or vehicle to load, so you can plug other devices outside the vehicle. And there are dual 50-watt air-cooled wireless fast chargers. So again, like we said with the MG, the Chinese continue to raise the bar, continue to diversify the kind of products they are producing. And the good news is they're not yet in the North American market, but we should certainly be ready when they decide to show up here. That about wraps things up for this week with AutoPerspectives and our news roundup. If you like what you see in here, please share. And to learn more about AutoPerspectives and to visit the blog, please come to autoperspectives.net. That about wraps things up for this week, and we will see you back here next Monday. Bye-bye.